on the issuance of direction to MNOs, that's the service providers, to explore every technical means not to allow their networks to be used for call masking and SIM boxing activities.
A major highlight of the consumer outreach program in Ogbomoso was a raffle draw with which it was spiced, where many lucky consumers smiled home with smartphones, including this highly elated policeman.
We talk about the mission of the NCC, the mission of the Nigerian Communications Commission, to drive a market-based industry, okay? Market-based industry, as well as promote universal access, okay? Access, I said, can only take place if there is availability of services. If we don't have the services available, you can't access them. And then I have added one more A, because those are the hallmarks of universal access, okay? Affordability.
Well, it would give us immense pleasure to continue, but this is where the time will permit us on today's episode. Not to worry, we will be back same time next week with another exciting episode. Till then, please remember to send us your feedback and comments through the NCC website, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. Remember that you can always call our toll-free customer care line 622 for any service complaint. Thank you for being dependable partners. Telecom Today is powered by NCC. I am Eunice Johnson. Bye for now.
Nigerians. Suicide bombers are not spirits. They are not ghosts. They are human beings like you and me. They live amongst us. They are your neighbors. They are your friends today, but terrorists tomorrow. So you must know your neighbor now. Security begins with you and me. Know your neighbor. Be vigilant. Be security conscious. Report suspicious persons, objects, and movements to the police and other security agencies. The security of our nation is a duty for you and me.
If you see something, say something. Nigeria unite against terrorism.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture.
Nigeria, a land blessed with rich and diverse cultural heritage. In Nigeria, culture is reflected in all aspects of our lives: language, dance, food, and music. Today, the country has over 521 languages and over 250 dialects and ethnic groups. However, the top three largest and most widely known being Yoruba, Hausa, and Igbo. Although they might appear as different entities, they're all part of a single unit called Nigeria. With culture being a way of life of the people, it is necessary that we celebrate our diverse cultural heritage, not minding our differences. Nigeria is often described as a country of unity in diversity. This description probably stems from the fact the country is made up of over 400 linguistic groups. The onus therefore lies on us to evolve strategies of harmonizing the rich cultural heritage that abound in Nigeria to avoid erosion of the cultures and traditions of about 250 ethnic nationalities in Nigeria.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Badagry is one of the oldest settlements in Lagos State, having been founded around 1425. The border town has been a tourist destination of choice for several centuries due to its rich historical antecedents. Badagry is located about 57 kilometers by road from Lagos. The coastal town is a gateway to the West Coast. This is in view of the fact that one could access several West African countries by sea from Badagry. Though founded by the Ogu people, the town has been home to many other tribes, particularly the Yoruba from the hinterland. The enviable position occupied by Badagry on the Nigerian tourism calendar has been due largely to its location as a coastal settlement, which in turn afforded it the opportunity not only to play host to most Europeans arriving the shores of the country as a den, but also to ensure that it plays a prominent role in the slave trade that characterized the country for several centuries. Thus, our exploration on this episode on the program is on the rich slave relics of the distant past, as well as the advent of Western education and Christianity to the country through the Badagry routes. The concept of slave trade, which was one of the blights that characterized the Europe-Africa relationship for over 3 centuries. Within the period, hundreds of thousands of Africans were shipped under the most severe inhuman conditions to different plantations in Europe and the Americas to work as slaves in their new abodes. Now, the fact that the trade was carried out by sea due to the distance placed coastal towns like Badagry in strategic position throughout the period. In fact, it is a historical fact that a sizable proportion of the slaves sold and transported from Africa went through the route of Badagry. From the commencement of abolition campaign to the eventual stoppage of the slave trade, Badagry has played a prominent role since the white cap chiefs who participated in the trade also contributed towards its abolition. The need for the proper preservation of all the historical facts of the era as part of the African experience has ensured that Badagry remains a destination of choice for tourists across the globe. Relics from the slave trade have become a reality in many other African countries. Badagry, through several illustrious families, have preserved these relics for generations yet unborn. Our sojourn on this expenditure thus kicks off naturally at the Badagry Heritage Museum. The edifice is situated at Boyko Quarters. It was built in 1863. It was actually a former district officer's office, but was converted into a museum in 2002. Though owned and managed by the Lagos State Ministry of Tourism and Intergovernmental Relations, the museum boasts of the most comprehensive collection on the transatlantic slave trade in Nigeria. Its 8 galleries offered a profound insight into the plight of the slaves. Hence, it is not out of place to see galleries dedicated to capture, facilitators, resistance, as well as punishment of slaves. The Mubi Family Slave Relic Museum offered further insight into the harrowing experience of the period. Situated within the Mubi family compound, still in Boyko Quarters of Badagry, the museum consists mainly of the relics used during the slave trade, and that's between the 16th and the 19th century.
The Mubi Royal Slave Relics Museum. This is where the shackles used on our forefathers during the slavery era since the 16th century. This is where they are kept. When we get into this museum, we're going to see these chains and how they are used differently. Aside that, we have the slave barracoon, the Brazilian barracoon, which is also another museum where the slaves are kept. Over 40 slaves in a small room. Then we have the slave market, the village slave market, where slaves were being sold, like, someone just going to the market to buy any commodity.
Boyko Quarters is a major reference point in the history of both Badagry and the slave trade.
When you hear Boyko, Boy means the name of the progenitor. Ko in the language means quarter. Boyko, that is Boy Quarters. It was so influential and royal personages. And with that, the Republic of Benin in 15th century. He came to Badagry. He was a diviner, a herbalist, and also a trader. He established in this place, and the place was named after his name, Boyko Quarters.
The relics in the museum include leg chains, children links, ankle claps, mouth clip, among others.
These are the chains. These chains you're looking at here, I believe some lives have gone on it. Blood runs on this chain. Let me explain how they are used. This is the neck chain. It is put around the neck of the slaves like this. Why it remains on? Well. Why they got this neck chain on their necks? To complete their agonies, Just as ladies, they have the neck chain and the anklet. The slaves also, they have their ankle clasp. These are the ankle clasps used on their ankles. It is not heavy at all. It is as light as 100 kilograms altogether.
The plight of slaves in these days are underscored by the various items on display in the museum.
The last on the chain is this dual-purpose tool. It's called the branding iron and as the bone breaker as well. How is it used as a branding iron? Whenever a slave merchant buys a slave, let's assume his name is Setonji, like my own name. All right, what they do is this will be put into the fire, and once it's red hot, very, very red hot, they use it to inscribe the name of the master, that's Setonji, on the bodies of the slave. And that is how tattooing started. Tattoos are different from tribal marks, but then the slaves who have been branded with this, they have the option with what is left on their bodies. So they have to add some aesthetics to it. And now it becomes a fashion. Even people pay to get this.
That the Moby family was able to preserve all these equipments underscores the acknowledged roles played by their ancestors in both the slave trade and its abolition.
Boye begat Prince Kpodowu. Kpodowu was a serious slave merchant. And Kpodowu begat Sumbu Mobi. Sumbu
the fast-emerging economies of the world, Nigeria holds the ace in terms of investors' destination. And the reason for this is not far-fetched. One of those is the enabling business environment.
Tremendous dynamism of the people, of the Nigerian economy. The Vice President, His Excellency, talked about the recession which is over. Now Nigeria is back to growth.
The country is gradually climbing the ladder in the World Bank's Ease of Doing Business global ranking. The country is equally opening its doors to more local and foreign investors.
For my company is to better understand all about the market, not only the consumers, but the regulation, the right people to know, to facilitate the local settlements of a potential facility, and to put a highlight on the contribution, what is possible for France to do in the dairy sector, and to contribute to the development of this sector locally in Nigeria.
This delegation, made up of members of Franco-Nigerian Chamber of Commerce and Industry, is being led to strengthen the economic relationship.
The opportunity relationship, France, Nigeria, Nigeria, France. And this cannot be done with one party